Ahoy Explorers, I'm Nia, and this is My Rum Diaries and a new segment I'm excited to bring you, which I'm going to call, Crewmate or To Never Be Remembered. So I have Scott here. Welcome, Scott. Thank you so much for coming on my channel. I really appreciate it.
Happy to be here. Excited.
So give us a little breakdown what brought you. So he's big into bourbon. So just give us a little bit of your background story as far as your passion for bourbon.
Yeah, it probably goes back to my 20s. It was kind of like the college drink that I did. It was very basic, a bourbon that I probably would never touch again. Jim Beam, white label. But at the time, it was great. I liked it, and I went from making it a party drink to drinking it on the rocks. And as I got older and wanted to learn a little bit more about bourbon itself, because I enjoyed that, I started to explore a little bit more. And it just kind of brought me to where I'm at today, in which I read books on it. I watch, different documentaries about it. I go out hunting, is what we call it, looking for the super rare bottles.
Definitely go follow him on IG. I'll put his Instagram account below. So
yes.
He curates some really, really cool bourbon bottles.
Find some fun stuff. I find a lot of great places to go out to, but I get out there and I hunt. I take the weekends and drive around a lot of little smaller individually owned liquor stores, which I'm sure you do for the rums as well. So exact same game, and just look for some really cool stuff that you just don't normally find down here.
That's awesome. So what is your favorite bourbon?
Oof, that's a hard question. It depends on the day. The flavors are so different. I think that's one of the things that I love about bourbon, the different complexities and the different flavor profiles that there are. I'd probably have to say a highly wheated bourbon, because I tend to like the sweeter bourbons. So perhaps a Weller Antique 107 or the 12-year. Again, not easy to come by, but if you're asking favorites, those are probably two of the big ones.
And how do you typically drink that?
Those I typically drink neat. Of course, in South Florida during the summertime, it gets a little difficult to drink a high proof bourbon, and those aren't too high proof, but I do have some that will go all the way up to 122, 124 proof. Those in the summertime in South Florida, a couple of ice cubes, small ice cubes will go into that, or at least a good mineral water, a couple splashes of water in there just to help to open it up, because that's a little too hot in the summertime here. But definitely when the winter starts to come around, comes around down here, always neat Glencairn glass at all times, just so I can get all those good notes and profiles and everything coming through it, and slow sips.
Awesome. So I have Scott here today because I have a challenge, which is I'm going to try to convince him that rum is on the level or up to par with bourbon.
Ooh, all right.
So that's my challenge today. So now that we're officially starting, you can go ahead and grab the bottle, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about this company. So Foursquare, I literally curated this bottle for him, is released in 2017. This only had 24,000 bottles released. They're exquisite casks picked by the owner and distiller, who's Richard Seal. He's fourth generation Barbadian family that still owns the distillery. This was aged for 12 years in ex-bourbon casks, so I'm hoping this is gonna convince you a little bit more. So if you want to go ahead and open that, you can do the honors. I want you to have the full experience on here today.
This is very exciting.
And again, this is 2005 was not the date it was released, is just the date or number that they put for this particular release. And like I said, the amazing part is they no longer release this. So they put out the 24,000, and if they're off the shelves, they're off the shelves. So I kind of had to go on a hunt for this. The other thing that I thought was very interesting that I think you will also enjoy is they aged their rum in different casks. And this 2017 was the first year that they aged them in bourbon casks. Okay. So it's the first bottle that they released as a blend in bourbon casks. So since you haven't been on my channel before, I have glasses here, and we're going to go ahead and try the notes first and see what you can kind of detect. And I'll use my aroma training kit to bring out things that you think it might smell like.
All right.
And we'll just kind of like see if we can pick up something, okay?
Cool. Let's do it.
So you do the honors, because this is officially your bottle now.
Oh, boy.
Thank you. It's got a beautiful light amber color. If you all want to see this. And I was talking over the pop of the cork.
It's the most beautiful sound ever.
Right.
Next to baby laughter is the only way
Right.
I can compare it.
So I'm gonna tell you the aromas that I have in my kit, and you tell me which I should bring out for you. So I have banana, burnt rubber, caramel or caramel. Don't find me on it, people. Cascade, chocolate, citrus, coconut, coffee, dried fruit, fusel oil, leather, molasses, muscovado, nut, oak tannic, orange peel, roasted, sherry, spice, tobacco, toffee, tropical fruits, and vanilla.
Okay, I'll have to read that one. I gotta let this open up just for a second.
And I'll put it here because I know it's a lot.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. What I mentioned before is the aroma training kit. Yeah, it does have 24 aromas, but when you look at the wine, they have like double that amount.
Oh, I can imagine. The complexities in wine are just unbelievable. But the smells coming from, it smells fantastic. That is awesome.
Can you believe that's a rum?
No, because it definitely has, you can pick up a little bit of that char from the oak from the bourbon casks, which is a charred oak. But there's a sweetness that's in there too, and I'm picking up, and I'm hoping it's not because my eye's hitting it, but I'm picking up a little bit of a sherry in there as well.
Yeah, we can put that out. And sherry's number 19. We've been so busy at work that we've had to reschedule this twice, but I'm so excited you're here.
This is awesome. And this is...
And I, for the first time ever, watched a ton of reviews of like people that enjoy bourbon or are obsessed with bourbon and that look for different spirits. So a lot of the bourbon community like this particular distiller and like this collection. So
it definitely makes sense, and I can tell you I do enjoy rum periodically. It's not, I do keep a couple of bottles in the house, and it's not something that I necessarily go to regularly. Just kind of depends on the mood that I'm in, but something about a good rum and a cigar on a cool night, it's a great pairing.
Yeah, that's my go-to. So we were talking a little bit earlier, and he said that typically he drinks this, bourbon's neat. So we're going to try now. I did bring a little bit of ice, but I feel like because it is a rum, the sweetness will be fine, but we'll see. I have... Also, this is very exciting for me because I've never tried Foursquare before. And I actually love rums from Barbados. So this will be kind of like popping my cherry too.
Okay. And this is a little bit of a higher... proof as well.
It's 59%.
So it will have a little bit, what I like to call that is a hug as it goes down. You get, some people, it's a warmth. Some people like to say burn. I go, that's not a burn. No, that's a hug.
I like that.
It's hugging the soul as it goes down.
I'm going to have to steal that. I totally love that. Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Wow.
Oh, that's good. And it's got a long flavor to it, too. It sits on the tongue for a while, so you can really taste it. And it's kind of slow coming down, too. And that's one of the things I have friends of mine that I discuss, and we go through and we do our tastings when we get new bottles, and some of the times the flavor profile is so fast you can't even. It's hard to pick up some of the notes, and it disappears. You take the sip, and like within seconds, it's gone.
Yeah.
This actually has like a nice. It's almost a little of a thicker flavor.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it almost coats the tongue a little bit and sits there for a while.
I agree. And for me, I got a different flavor when I put it. I try to put spirits at the front of my tongue and on the back of my tongue.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely a complex run. The interesting part is this is a blended rum from pot stilled and column stilled rums, but it's from the same distillery. He just chooses which rums to now age in the bourbon casks. So I do get, not when I smell it, but when I taste it in the back of my mouth, I don't know if you got the same feeling, but I got a little bit of floral.
Yes, and I'm actually picking it up on the nose too.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a floral piece in there. And maybe that's what I was picking up more so than the sherry. And as it opens up, because it's, like any great spirit, the longer it sits in a glass like this and opens up a little bit, the more, like, the different smells you're going to get, the different tastes you're going to get. The other thing I know about bourbon, which I don't know if it's the same thing about rum, but I would kind of assume it is, the flavor profile in the neck is very different than it is when you get down to the rest of the body in the bottle.
Oh, I have not heard that before.
Yeah, it'll open up a little bit more down here.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't think we'll be able to experiment with that today.
No,
but
I
let
get
me know
that
how
part.
that goes. When you
get
finally
that
take
part.
it home.
I get that part. Mm.
But like you said, the hug is there, but it's not overpowering.
No, not at all.
It's very smooth. But like you said, I love that I expected for it to be a very simple rum. I didn't expect it to have so many notes. I didn't expect the flavor profile to be so elaborate. Like I said, I'm tasting different things as the rum is going through my mouth, through my throat, like it's going up to my nose, like the notes of it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful rum.
It really is. And it's funny because like the way that you're saying that, like I said before, it sits on the tongue for a while.
Yeah.
And the flavors are just kind of changing as it goes through. Like I'm trying to pinpoint what it is. There's like a little bit of a spice in there.
Okay, I'll bring out some spice.
We do have a spice.
So this has been resting for a little bit. Let's see if we can detect if it's sherry.
Okay.
Oh, sherry's really sweet. I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's a little bit too
sweet. It's more of the floral then. Yeah.
Right?
Yep. You're right.
I want to say, I'm gonna bring out the dried fruit. There's some sweetness in there, but it's not quite. I could take that. I wouldn't. Let's see. Another thing that has been incredible experiencing this rum aroma training kit, now that I've gone through most of them, believe it or not, number 3, which is burnt rubber, and number 11, which is fusel oil, you're like, why would something smell like that? But then you open up the burnt rubber, and it is literally 1 or 2 degrees different from leather.
Yeah, and I believe that.
I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Like when I first started getting into bourbon and more so with the complexities and everything, and I would read up on what some of the different flavor profiles and nose profiles were to it, and they would talk about leather. And there was one person who used to do reviews, and it wasn't even just leather. It was like your little league catcher's mitt, like just worked in, worn out leather. The way that he explained it, and it was funny the way that he did. But then when I went back and I tasted it, I was like, I kind of get what he's saying on that one.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't like, like a high-end leather jacket smell. Like there's something a little grittier about it. Because when he's talking about it more along the lines of like the baseball piece, I remember like my old baseball mitt, and there was just an earthy tone with the leather.
Yes.
That I've picked up on certain bourbons as well.
I get that too. It's so interesting. I'm going to bring out the spice just in case. There isn't too much of a peppery And by the way, this rum prides themselves on not adding any sugar, any spices, anything specific. So whatever notes you're getting, it's either by the way the molasses are processed or just the cask that they use.
And that's what I was thinking, was more along the lines of the cask. If they're using something that at one point held a higher rye content bourbon, you'll pick up spices more along the lines of not so much a pepper, but more so like a cinnamon or a clove.
Yeah.
Is what you would get.
Well,
from
I'm
that.
bringing out the spice to see if we can detect it or if it matches with this. You have to let this rest for a little.
Yeah. This is absolutely delicious, though.
Yay! I'm so excited.
You are making me this. I might be alternating period a little more often than I usually do.
Good. See? So now he's going to take my recommendations and I'm like, Scott, you got to try this.
Yeah. It is good. It is very good.
Do you want some ice on there?
I'm debating. Part of me wants to say no, but the other part is I know with a little, like one piece of ice, it could open up some more flavor profile too.
Okay, let's do it. I'm going to bring a couple of ice cubes out.
Okay. And more so because of the higher proof. If it was like a normal 80 proof, I probably would lean against, but being that it's 59.9%, it could help to open up some other flavors in there. I know for myself with bourbons, I keep a couple of bottles of mineral water.
I'm going to disinfect my hands, people, alcohol, and then I can throw some ice cubes in yours.
No worries, I'm good. But yeah, like I know for bourbons, the mineral, they always recommend a limestone mineral water if you can find it, which you can't find here, but a good mineral water helps to open it up.
Oh, that's great. I have never heard that before.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, my dad, when he used to drink whiskey, my dad was a big whiskey guy.
Mm-hmm.
He put always mineral water with gas in his whiskey.
Mineral water with gas.
Because in South America we have mineral water that's that's carbonated. Does that make sense? Sorry,
yes.
English is
Okay.
not my first language, people. English is not.
I was thrown off a little bit, but yes, all right, that makes sense. A carbonated mineral water.
Mineral water is what I meant. So let's see. I also love adding ice because I feel like it changes also the profile of even the nose.
Mm-hmm. So for me, it got rid of the heavy alcohol smell that was in there and really opens up more of the sweetness that's coming out from the molasses.
And for me, every single time I add ice to these types of rums that have a lot of profiles, it feels like it boosts the smokiness. I don't know if you can detect the smokiness now, or maybe like a little bit of more cask. Like the sweetness. Yeah. I can't wait to try this. I myself always drink spirits on the rocks.
Yeah.
Or like in a cocktail, but
Cocktails, I'll do that too. I do a lot of smoked fashions at home.
oh.
I do a double smoked.
Well, what do you know? Guess what I brought today?
Oh, really?
I'm making you also a very special old fashioned.
This is the greatest day ever.
So I actually watched a ton of videos of old fashions, and there's this guy, which I'm going to put the link down below because I love his videos. He has this YouTube channel, which is called How to Drink. And he does a rum old fashioned with a twist. So once we're done detecting the notes and playing around with this, I'm going to make you a rum old fashioned with a twist.
All right. It's a good day.
But I did bring some smokiness, so.
Yes.
So let's go try this. I love the fact that it lingers.
Yeah, it really does. It's a good long finish. Like it's so important to me, especially after the time and effort that you put into finding a bottle like this. if it was a flavor that was there and then gone, I don't know, like for me personally,
Yeah.
I'm upset by that. Like I want it to like, because I want to be able to take a sip and then put the glass down and
continue.
sit there and relax for the, and it's still just, and it is right now,
Yeah.
it's still just sitting there. It's phenomenal. And I got a little more, gotta go back in.
I don't know why, but now I'm getting like even spicier notes. Maybe like a little bit cinnamon.
Mm-hmm.
Once you put the ice in there,
Yes, it definitely,
got spicier, but not peppery.
no,
Spicy
not at
like
all. No,
cinnamon.
like a sweeter spice. I mean, you feel it on the tongue almost immediately. Like for me, it almost feels like a little pinch on the tongue,
Mm-hmm.
just to let you know I'm here. And you get like a little bit of that. Yeah, it's definitely like a cinnamon flavor that's in there on that.
Oh my god, I wonder if we have cinnamon. No, we don't. But we have spice. We'll see.
Okay.
I've tried spice with other rums and it just didn't quite make it, but let's see. So this is dried fruit. I forgot to do the dried fruit before we put the ice. Oh my god. I think this is it
Yeah,
for the sweetness.
I think you're right. And it was a little more pronounced before we put the rocks in.
I know. That's why I was like, oh my god, I forgot to do this neat.
But you still get like it's still
Yeah.
in there, so I know it was definitely there prior
Yeah.
to.
Because to me, the sweetness was definitely from the molasses, but it was something else besides not as sweet as caramel or toffee, because we do have caramel and toffee in this from
Yeah,
Aroma
no,
Training
definitely
Kit.
not.
It wasn't tropical fruits. It was something like fruity, but a little bit more muted.
Mm-hmm. This is
This
I
is
think
it,
this
right?
is it.
So dried fruit it is.
Yeah,
Awesome.
It's definitely it. Oh, that's fun.
Okay, now let's try the spice. I personally don't think this is gonna be it, only because of the way this is made. I feel like if we had raw cinnamon, which I did do that in one of my reviews, I brought up raw cardamom just to compare, and the cardamom was there, but then this spice didn't mix it, so I don't know how they make this spice aroma. But it's,
No.
yeah, you'll see. You'll see what I mean. I feel like if we had...
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
it's not the right kind of spice. I agree with that.
if we had cinnamon, I bet we would get it.
Mm-hmm. We definitely would. This is a cool kit. We usually just sit around and guess, and then we look it up. I like this version much better. This is awesome.
Plus, it's kind of like a game to where you can say, okay, well, we tried this, this, and that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how good our noses are.
Yeah.
Like some people, their palates are on point, and other people, their noses are stronger. I feel like my palate is very weak, and my nose is very strong.
I kind of feel the same for myself.
Yeah.
So it just depends. Like, I don't know, there's certain, like the complexities coming from this, I would not be able to pinpoint everything, but I'm also not as avid of a rum drinker as you are.
Yeah.
Certain bourbons, I can pick it up without looking at what the flavor profiles are.
Yeah.
Like through aroma, through the nose, but not necessarily on the palate every time, which I think is just amazing when I can talk to somebody and watch somebody in the process doing it. There's a place in West Delray called Warren. I don't know if you've been out there yet.
No, I haven't.
Unbelievable. Food is fantastic. The bar, it's a bourbon bar mecca. When you walk in, it looks like an old school library, and the bourbon goes all the way up to the roof, and it's these giant vaulted ceilings and around. But they have a master bourbon taster and pourer there. You can sit down at his private bar. It's 4 seats, and his claim is, if you tell me that you hate bourbon, I will figure out a way to make sure that you love it by the time you leave.
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to steal Warren's idea. I'm sorry. I hope it's not copyrighted. I don't want to get sued.
I think you're doing a better job, but no, this guy, when he goes through and you do the tasting with him and he starts talking about the different notes and everything in there, it's funny because when he tells you, and I don't know if it's just subliminal, it's putting it in your head, but you start to pick them up too after you're kind of fed the answers a little bit.
So for me, through this, going from rum enthusiast to hopefully one day rum expert, I've tried to force myself not to look at the notes or the aromas or see other people's reviews until I've experienced the rum myself. But that's why I also bought the rum aroma training kit because I figured if I detected something, I wanted to see how my brain was functioning, because it acts, I feel like, as a training to think I detect an aroma and to realize that my brain is not detecting that aroma, or it is in this case.
Sure. No, I love that. And I think this is absolutely amazing, because for those that can't figure out, like, you know you're tasting something that's familiar, but you can't figure out what it is, it's a great way to help teach yourself what the notes are that you're picking up too as you go through, and you go through the samples there and you test it out and you go right back to it. I mean, that's awesome.
That's awesome. Well, Scott, I'm going to make you a rum old fashioned with a twist. You can keep on sipping on this.
I'm going to.
Our other connection that we have is we used to both work in hospitality.
Yes, we did.
So tell us about your major switch, because you did have a pretty big career switch.
I did. Tremendous. I actually worked at the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Fort Lauderdale for 13 years, and was in the poker department, and started off there in the poker room on the floor itself. Worked my way into a supervisory role and ultimately into senior leadership for the last 7 years that I was there. And at one point, it was time to find something new, and that's when I finally made my move. But yeah, I mean, and there was a lot of hospitality well before that as well, because I bartended for a long time too. So, which is probably where the fun with the spirits and everything really originated. Was getting to try so many different things.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what was your favorite drink to make? Ooh. And don't make it easy. Don't tell me, some nice spirit on the rocks.
No. Fun-wise, there was a shot that I used to make called an upside-down pineapple cake.
Ooh, that sounds delicious.
It was actually really good. It was a fan favorite. People would actually come into the bar and get me to make it for them. And I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. It was Malibu. It was layered. So you put grenadine at the bottom of the cup, and then it was a layer of Malibu, and then a layer of Bailey's. It was not a strong one, but it was a good sweet drink that people seemed to really like. But the way that you layered it, and as you brought it down, I'm trying to think, there was something else that mixed with the Malibu that helped to give it more of that pineapple flavor. Can't remember what it was. It'll come to me. But the way that you layer it through, as you come through, like if you took a look at like an actual upside down pineapple cake and the way that it finishes off.
Yeah.
With
the little cherries down, on top.
That's where the grenadine comes in. So the way that it comes back down the opposite way, it tastes just like. That was probably my favorite one to make. Not my favorite one to drink all the time, but again, college town. They loved it.
Okay,
that is awesome.
So like I said, I did a little bit of research today for the old fashioned, because I'm like, this guy's a bourbon guy. He probably drinks old fashioned. So, I got to do something to impress him. So like I said, I found this recipe on how to drink. It is a rum old fashioned, but he used a lime instead of an orange. And I personally made Demerara syrup from this.
Ooh.
Which, I'm trying to see. I think I'm gonna have to do half of this because it's too much. But he puts Demerara instead of simple syrup, and then muddles the limes, and then adds the rum. I don't know if you're familiar or if you've ever seen Middleton Smoketop. Super cool.
I have.
You have?
I have. I've seen it, and I'm getting ready to buy one because the method that I use is it's a bit much. I do a double smoked old fashioned when I do it at home. So.
Oh shoot! How do you do that?
All right.
I've never seen that.
So, I've got. I make the old fashioned itself, and I've got the mint julep shaker, so like the big crystal shaker. Put all the ingredients into there, so I go with, and I don't do too much of a muddling when I do mine, personal preference, but it is the Angostura bitters. I use a good rye usually when I make it.
I know this is yours, but I gotta
Nope, it's cool.
borrow a couple of ounces here.
We're having fun. Let's do it. That's the fun of spirits. No matter how hard it is to find it, when you can share it with friends, that's what makes it worth it.
It makes it so much more
100%. 100%. But yeah, so with the old fashioned that I do, a good rye, the bitters, and I use an agave syrup, stir that up, and I pour it into an old bourbon bottle. And I've got a mechanism that will pump the smoke into the bottle. So now I fill up that bottle with all the smoke and the bourbon.
So is it like the bars where they have that like glass?
Similar. This one actually, it's a piece with a hose that comes off of the end. There's a little area similar to this where you can put in your wood chips. You light that, and there's a fan on the inside of the mechanism that blows it down into the bottle. So the bottle will fill up with smoke. Now, while that sits there and infuses, I take a glass and on a small skillet and wood chips in there, light the wood chips, glass on top. So now the glass fills up with it. And then once I've stirred around the bourbon with the smoke, throw my big cube into the glass that's now already been smoked out, and then pour the bourbon on top. Fill with smoke.
Damn, he's
good.
getting fancy.
It's good. It's time consuming, but it's good.
Speaking of smoking, I'm gonna
All
smoke
right, let's
this.
do this. Oh, look at that.
Maybe I didn't put enough chips. Okay, and I forgot a spoon. Of course.
Oh, that's a good smell, though.
Okay. Typically, do you mind if I reuse the muddler?
Go for it. You're good.
Because I like to swish it around so even the liquor gets smoky.
Yep.
Now, I know you're not a big sweet type of guy because obviously you like bourbon, so I literally followed his recipe, which I hope will be to your liking. This is a long process, but these are specialty cocktails, so I like to make them one at a time. So I'm gonna make mine, but you can go ahead and let me know what you think about that.
I just want to take in the. Oh God, that smoked is just. That's fantastic. No, I have to wait for you. All right, I'll take one little sip.
If you want to get this smoke top, it's amazing for mental mixology. We did use sherry chips.
Ooh, oh, that's good. That is good. Oh, I like that.
Yeah?
The lime is that tartness that's in there. And yeah, like that is.
Yeah?
That is good.
Yay!
Nice.
So now when you make your cocktail, when you take this bottle home, you can make this. It's very easy. I'll send you the recipe for the demerara syrup.
Perfect.
It's pretty easy, but obviously like anything, you just need a little bit of time. But then it'll last forever because you're gonna use this in a lot of cocktails. Like we don't use simple syrup anymore at my house for drinks.
Okay. Yeah, I did get in the habit of making my own simple syrup. So I could put my own ingredients into it, but I do like the evolution going off to something like this. It does make a big difference in the cocktail.
Yeah. And I like, I don't know, I like the profile of the demerara syrup because it does have turbinado sugar.
Mm-hmm.
I poured the liquor in there without muddling. Goodbye. I'm gonna blame it on the rum people.
It's still gonna muddle though.
And I used Angostura aromatic bitters.
It's always the good, easy go-to.
Yeah.
I will do periodically on some of my smoked old fashions. I will use a chocolate bitters just to mix up the flavor a little bit.
I haven't tried that.
They're very good. Woodford chocolate bitters.
That's so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
These big boys are melting.
They're worth it though. That nice slow melt into the alcohol really helps to open the spirit up the right way.
And they have different types of chips. These are the cherry ones. I feel like I need to get like a little pack of the different flavors just to see how it changes the profile of the cocktail.
I would recommend that. For mine, I use... Can I open it?
It's like my hands got wet.
I use applewood chips
Oh, sweet.
when I do mine, but I also I have a smoker at home.
Yeah,
So-
that's another amazing thing that if you follow Scott, you'll see a lot of smoking. So if you're a foodie and not so much a spirit type of person, you'll get a lot of food
Yes.
stuff in his IG as well.
Yes. Funny enough, I went in on the same day and I got my culinary pig tattoo. Hope
Nice.
You can see that one. And on the same day, I got my bourbon glass with my skull rock.
Oh!
So-
That's awesome.
My two true passions. And I will be ordering one of these before I get back to my house.
Yeah, and if you
This thing
guys
is
want to get
fantastic.
one, I'll include the affiliate link below. Thank you for your support. This is a great company. This is so compact. I don't have a lot of space in my house. As we all know, we have a tiny little house, so I don't need any huge smoker. So this works perfectly.
That's awesome.
Mix it around a little. And with that, we can say an official last cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The lime is what's throwing me for a little bit of a loop, only because I've never done any type of old fashioned that's had lime in it.
Yeah, I like that. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's different. It gives it like a different flavor profile. Not your standard like orange. So
Yeah, completely.
if you don't like lime, then don't do it this way. Stick with orange.
It's very lime heavy, but it is good. It pairs well with the rum.
Mm-hmm. The other thing he was saying is that he likes the limes for simpler rums, like more aged rum. So this is a 12-year rum. So he feels like the lime goes better than the orange because it tends to be a stronger proof rum. So the lime kind of like subdues
Will
the
help the cut.
rum a little bit.
Interesting.
But then you still have the Demerara syrup, so it brings back the sweetness to it a little bit.
Very interesting. Yeah, there's one bourbon person that I follow, and he is the heir to Pappy Van Winkle.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. But I read a book that he is profiled in and called Pappy Land. And it's funny. It's one of the harder bourbons out there to find. It's the Weller 12-year. And the way he drinks
And we've
it,
spoken about this because
Yes.
my boyfriend loves spirits in general, and he always asks me because he has a coworker that I've shown you the bottles. He literally gifts us because he's like, I don't want them.
Yeah.
Do you want them? And I was like, oh, look, we got a Weller. And then I showed him. I was like, oh, Scott's gonna be so impressed. He's like, yeah, that's good, but if you find this, and that, like he knows his stuff. I was like, oh, okay.
I'm out there hunting way too much. It's pretty bad. But no, so he actually drinks the Weller 12-year with a squeeze of lemon.
Wow.
Yeah, with a twist.
And that's
Is how he
it.
does it. That's
No
it.
ice, nothing.
He does it on the rocks, and he does it with a twist, which if you talk to any other bourbon, like myself, like bourbon aficionado, you're like, oh, you would never do that
Yeah.
to a Weller 12.
I've never heard that.
And a buddy of mine who gave me the book to read, we both read it, obviously me afterwards, and I go, I've got a bottle of 12-year. I'm bringing it over. Do you have a lemon? He goes, are we really going to do it? And I go,
We
yeah,
got to.
we have to. I go, if the grandson
If it's
of...
good enough for Poppy, it's good
Yes,
enough for us.
Exactly. If the grandson of Pappy Van Winkle, if the Pappy bloodline is drinking it, we have to try it. It was delicious. It was delicious. I don't know if I could bring myself to do it regularly,
Yeah.
but it was good.
It's like,
was really-
it was
there's
like a
something-
different take on it.
100%. It's just, it opened up different flavor notes that were in there. It gave it a little bit more of a refreshing feel, like a refreshing mouthfeel,
Yeah.
than a standard bourbon or any kind of spirit would straight on its own. But yeah, it was really good. I was impressed. But again, it just, the lime just kind of kicked that into my head. because
Yeah, that's awesome.
I've never done the lime in a drink like this.
Me neither, but when I saw this, I was very impressed. I thought, wow, I've never done that before. And I was like, wow, we have such a beautiful, curated bottle today that let me try something new.
Mm-hmm.
I figured you would do old fashions all the time. So originally I was thinking of doing like a classic old fashioned, and then I'm like, no, let's do it with a twist so it could be a double experience.
I like it.
New experience. Okay, Scott, moment of truth. So, are you going to be a crew member or to never be remembered today?
This is hard. I think I have to walk the plank.
Folks, he's walking the plank.
Sorry. This is amazing. And I can definitely tell you this. This will help me to be even more of a rum drinker. And I definitely see myself switching a little bit more so back and forth than I have in the past, where it, again, like I've said,
asking me for some advice before you buy a bottle.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I will probably end up FaceTiming you from the liquor store going, all right, here's what they got. What do I ask for? But no, this is amazing. When I've seen different, ads come to me from some like the bigger liquor store chains where they profile bottles kind of like this, I would definitely give it a lot more consideration and probably say, you know what, I need to put that in the bar.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is definitely expanding my horizons when it comes to the rums.
So he's walking the plank, but he's definitely gonna start looking at rums, which is good. At least I've opened them.
I may have to come back and join the crew. You gotta give me a little bit of time.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
This is good.
But thank you so much for coming on my channel. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hope we can do this more often.
Absolutely. This is awesome.
I do have some gifts for you. Little stickers.
Ooh.
Little cards in case you meet any people that actually want to be crew members right away. They can follow me. And then
the stickers are great.
If you do go to a bourbon or whiskey tries, you can take this with you. It fits this glass.
Oh, perfect.
So if you go to a sampler or whatever, you basically take this out. It keeps the glass in there, and you can put it as a lanyard.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
And last but not least, T-shirts.
Oh, yeah. Love T-shirts.
But I really appreciate you taking time. Again, go follow him on IG. He has crazy, crazy amounts of bottles that he finds. If you want some pointers of where to find these rums here in Florida, please DM him. He's very insightful. And I look forward to the next rum. Cheers.
Cheers.